You got to toot.
There's a lady who's sure. Oh, fuck, I'm bad at this. I'm fucking so bad.
There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying a stairway to heaven.
Yeah.
That was not our guest, but that was one of us, and we are in a new location there, Carlito.
And by the way, we're live.
We are live at Digital Fabrication. Is it Digital Fab?
Digital Fabrication.
Okay, and we got two very lovely guests here. We want to learn a lot about you guys. We've got Tim on my left, and we got Anatol on my right, and then Carlito's far on the
Hey,
right.
I'm over here.
How's it going? So we're going to get right into it. We want to learn a shitload about you guys and how you guys got into the business, because you guys tell us that you're boring wood guys, but I don't believe that.
No, we're not boring.
I do
Not at all.
The
believe
work
that
we
at
do
all.
is not boring.
All right, so get right into it, Tim. Tell us a
So-
little bit about yourself.
I grew up in a wood shop. My father had a furniture factory overseas. But I never really got into it as a career up until probably a couple of years ago. But in the meantime, I was also building homes on the side. So when I met Anatol, we're actually, believe it or not, neighbors, door to door, and partners.
You guys both moved in the same time?
I moved in about 6 months before Anatol, and he just thought I was a cheap Greek trying to fix my own house.
There we go. Do you guys wave to each other every morning when you
I
come?
saw him wearing a suit, blue suit, and he didn't look like the type who would be building something in the house himself. So he was standing outside next to his Mercedes-Benz and smoking.
I love it.
And I'm like, oh God, this guy is...
You painted a picture of him already.
yeah, I did.
Okay.
Until I saw like a pile of wood in the house. And I'm
So,
like, oh, there's contractors there working.
He saw probably about 4 deliveries from Brenlo.
Nice place.
Love Brenlo.
And basically, I redid the whole house. And then when he came in to see it after, the first thing he said to me was, "What the fuck are you doing, at Mercedes?"
Oh, so as soon as you saw his workmanship, you're like wondering why are you selling cars?
There was not a single guy in my shop could match his quality.
Oh, wow. eh?
yeah.
So
Where'd you learn it from, Tim?
my father,
From the old man?
yeah, from the
And
old
he
man.
taught you the tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got... Okay, so how did you get into this game?
Mine is a very long story.
Give us the short version.
Short version is that I had a trucking company, and I was targeting woodworking shops to service their business because they paid the most. They needed the white glove service, and that's where I made money in trucking. So, but I was always inspired by the woodworkers because they always build the coolest things, and I admire that type of work. So I had a chance that one of my clients was shutting down his shop to take over their equipment and started the business. And there was a cabinet maker there that was still there, renting the shop on a day-to-day basis. So the landlord offered me, he said, if you take over all the equipment, you can use him to build the stuff for you at the beginning until you learn. So that's how it started. So I kind of took over the chance of starting a business that I didn't have experience in.
You just
But-
jumped right into it.
I jumped right into it, but at my early youth, I had experience in construction. So it wasn't
Residential?
residential.
Okay.
I did all kinds of mill work, like not mill work. It was drywall. We did studs. We put walls together, all general kind of work, really. But I always had the passion on the woodworking side. Ever since I was a child, people would ask me, "What do you like to do when you grow up?" I like to become a woodworker. I even considered going to school for it, but when the YouTube came, I'm like, screw that. I'm going to just learn it on YouTube.
That's it.
Well, where I was going to say me and Anatol kind of complement the business. So I'm sort of the background of the old school woodworking, right? So I like to use the joiners, the planers. But then Anatol is amazing with all the new technology, like the CNC machines, the laser cutters. So, you need still both disciplines, and that's where sort of both of us input into the company.
That was my first impression when I walked in here, because I know Paolo, our friend Paolo, is the one that said you got to go by and meet these guys and check out the workshop. I could see the marriage. I can see the old school, I can see the new school, and I can see the two getting together.
So the thing is that when I got introduced in the world of woodworking, the shop didn't have a CNC. But I had previously a client, when I did the trucking business, I kind of got into the signage and printing because I used to put the decals on my trucks myself. I bought a vinyl cutter and I used to cut. So I had a background in the software, knowing how to use Illustrator to do the illustration and the toolpath cutting and all kind of stuff.
So how many Stadler pencils do you have? I'm assuming you got a whole collection.
Yeah,
Well,
I do
you
have
know what the
some.
funny thing is? We can't find a pen to sign a check in here. We
Yeah.
sign in pencil. It's only pencils.
But the realistic point is that the woodworking, the old school way, anybody who is still doing that version, I don't see them being in the business for too
They're
long.
telephone booths, man.
Yeah. So with CNC, you're cutting down on the labor force a little bit, but you're also increasing more work because now it's assembly rather than building. You don't build by old school version anymore. CNC does all the work, then the guys are assembling, just like IKEA.
It's fabrication, right?
Yeah.
So I want to get right into it. I also want to let everybody know that we are actually in your workshop. So
Yeah.
that's what the background noise is. The guys are still working. They're still doing their things, right? And
Yeah.
they're building actually some really cool circular,
Yeah.
modular,
For a New York
just
project.
like really,
Yeah.
really cool items, right? So how old is Digital Fab? And like where did the name come from? And how did you guys get to that point?
It's about 4 years old. 2000, I think 2015 actually. Sorry, 2015 we started it. But digital fabrication name came from digitally fabricating. If you search that name on internet, it will give you laser cutting, CNC cutting, and 3D printing. Now, the 3D printing, it's something maybe about a year or year and a half we should be able to use it in our business, but at the moment it's so small scale in terms of how the finishes come out with the 3D printers. They're growing very fast.
What
but
exactly is a 3D printer? Like, can you kind of layman's version of it?
3D printer, it's basically you feed PVC. I don't know exact the name of because I don't have one yet, but I know you feed them with a PVC strings, and it just basically layer by layer it builds up the shape for you. So now again, that's something that really doesn't help us or benefit us in our business right now, but I can see it maybe down the road that if they can build a large scale, affordable, we might consider building some of our forms or some of our jigs with that. That will help our business. But our day-to-day process is that we always rely on CNC to do 99% of the work. If it can't, then we think about the other ways. But mostly
That's when I come into play if we can't do it with the CNC.
Yeah.
Then you figure out the old school way.
The old school.
But
way.
is it heart-wrenching, Tim? Like when you kind of, I get that you're looking at these future machines and the future ideas because the clients are asking for things that were not available 10,
Correct.
20 years ago,
Correct.
right? Imagination-wise, they were there. But physically building them and putting them together, they weren't quite there.
Correct.
As a specific tradesperson doing it, right? Like an artisan, right?
Yeah.
So are you looking at these things and going, okay, that's going to be really wanting, like people are going to want that in 5 years. So we need to start preparing for that. But does that kill you, Tim?
No, it doesn't actually. I'm embracing it. And the reason why I say I'm embracing it, like if I had to build a round booth and I didn't have the CNCs, it would probably take me and let's say two of my guys working on it for about a week.
to get to that, to get
Yeah.
to what you guys have just created in what? How long?
Well, so we have the guys upstairs. It might take them an hour to do the shop drawings, another hour and a half, 2 hours to cut the rib system, and then we assemble it. So we can be done before lunch.
Wow.
yeah.
As opposed to 2 weeks. So I'm embracing it.
Yeah, you have to embrace it, right?
See, the thing is that's what I saw. I saw the old school version of doing things, and I'm like, if I put this on a CNC and I rip cut it, and I can visualize it in my head that how I can process this a lot faster. And honestly, with the help of CNC, there's no other way of doing it.
Okay, so for the guys who don't know, what does CNC stand for?
It's computerized numeric
Cutter.
cutter.
Is that what it is? Computerized numeric
I
cutter?
think so.
Okay,
think
we're going to take a guess on that. Carlito?
Hi.
You seem like a court reporter down there.
Yeah.
So is that router bits or is that lasers, water jet? What is that?
CNC it comes in. So it's the same system they use for laser, for printer, as well as the router. So you can add router to it, you can add laser to it, you can add water jet to it. They all run on the same processing system. Okay, so it's a X, Y, Z. It's the movements, and then they have the 5-axis as well, which again in our business is not as usable. Probably a lot of the staircase guys, when they do sophisticated handrails, they would use it, but nobody comes to us for handrail. We would design it with our process. We would kind of make it work in our way. But I would say 5-axis, most of the time it's being used in the old school designs. In the modern designs, it's all flat panels, decorative finishes. A lot of people don't do carving anymore.
Have you guys got into, or are you going
No.
to? Because I know a few stone guys that are doing 5-axis robotic stuff.
Yeah, I mean to build art, you need 5-axis.
Yes.
It's the fastest way of doing it. You put a block there, and your router is running all around it, top, bottom, around it, and building it. Right. So,
What are the limitations for materials?
for 5-axis?
Yeah.
Depending on again, if you have a KUKA system, KUKA it's like a robotic arm where you can apply all kinds of router bits to it. You can do a diamond. You can even put blades on it, like a saw blade. But again, how you program it to cut it and what material you're cutting, it all depends on the routers that you're going to use. So if you're doing stone, there's diamonds. If you're doing wood, it's carbide bits, right?
Yeah.
You're doing tile, probably you're going to need different product. But in our business, we are always using carbide. Carbide is what we use in our day-to-day business. And
because you guys cut, like, what's the gamut of materials that you guys work with? I know you guys showed me.
acrylic, PVC, PVC or acrylic, they're both pretty much in the same world. We do aluminum. We also cut MDF, particle board, solid wood,
HDF,
HDF.
and then birch, I guess, or
They're still considered as plywood.
Yeah,
like
okay,
birch,
plywood of
plywood,
types, yeah.
all kinds of types. Yeah.
any kind. What you don't get into stone? No.
Not
No,
really.
So
we leave that
we-
to marble and marble.
Exactly. Let
But-
them do it.
But we do cut solid surface, so we do cut the corians and
Oh, so you'll still cut that?
yeah.
We
We'll cut it,
even
we'll form
fabricate
it.
And those are cut with carbides?
But yeah, it's the same router bit you would use to cut the wood. You can cut the corian with that.
So why don't you guys tell us what's the gamut of machines that you got here? You got a lot of machinery here.
Okay, so we have 4x8 CNC, 5x12 CNC, and then we have all kind of like routers, planers. We have a spray boot in house. We have a printer, laser cutter. We have a panel saw, and
And we just bought a new
edge bander. Yeah.
Edge bander.
So we have a new one and we have an old one. We're looking to get rid of the old one.
Oh, you guys want to sell it?
Yeah, can we plug
Carlito's
it?
just
Can
turned into
we
the
plug it here?
Kijiji show. Anybody interested in an older edge bander?
It still works fine. We didn't really replace it for any good reason.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to join in? Or?
Yeah. Well, you're doing so well, and the conversation was going. I didn't even need to say anything. It's like just start and go.
Go.
So where did the business actually get into construction and homes, or are you just entering that market now?
Yeah, so I've got some experience. So I've built about 4 or 5 homes before I came to Digital Fab, and I have a couple of contacts. They've seen my work, so they trusted me in building the house from scratch. So we got a couple of projects on the go, but the main focus is still we do a lot of commercial, architectural commercial.
Yeah, you guys are balancing both. I mean, you
Yeah.
guys got a lot of commercial work, restaurants, businesses, things like that.
One of the reasons we kind of don't let the residential go, it's because it helps with the cash flow. With the residential project, you get the money up front, you get a deposit. With commercial projects, you gotta do progressive. So a lot of that, for that reason, sometimes we still tap into residential, but we are very selective what kind of residential we do. We don't just advertise, hey, everybody, bring your work over. We pick and choose pretty much on the residential.
Let's get right into that residential. Like, I know that I'm used to, and you guys are probably used to, the old way of doing things. You've got a, argument's sake, built-in to build. on site, right? So they would rip everything down and cut it, join it, put it, glue it, build it right into the niche or whatever. You guys don't do that.
No,
You guys build everything here,
correct.
Yes.
based
Yeah.
on the measurements.
Yeah.
Do you guys get crazy with like laser pointing measuring? Like
Yes.
the you get into that whole world.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, huh?
Yeah, always. Always.
Yeah. So we 3D model the room basically.
3D model the room.
Yeah.
We basically bring everything to a render. We bring it to 3D, so we show the client what the thing will look like before he even sees the finished product. And 99% of the time, if you put them side by side, if you take a picture of the finished work compared with the render, you will not be able to tell the difference. Which one is the actual work? Which one is the render?
Wow.
So when we 3D the room, actually we 3D even the imperfections. So if we know we have to make something a little bit smaller because one wall is off slightly, we'll account for that.
So you guys will see walls. I know this is a favorite of Carlito. Crown out, crown in,
Yep.
Yes.
and you'll 3D model that.
That
Yes.
is crazy.
Isn't that insane?
You just took my job away from me. I had
Well-
to fix that all the time.
Well, listen, if I have to get a cabinet that's got to fit into a niche, so I gotta find a way to get it to fit in. If I make it exact, if it's crown in, crown out, it's not going to go in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
my experience with the residential was and even commercial. I used to go laser measure, and I would build everything perfectly fitted. And there were challenges that I had in the installation side where I realized, how come my piece is not going in if it's done perfect to size? The walls are never perfect. So that was the early in the game when I started the business. I kind of had few scenarios where I started making everything inch or 2 inch smaller and just filling trim around them.
Oh, but I would have been like you, man. I always wanted it as tight and
I
right
know,
as possible.
But the walls are never straight.
So
you know that.
We just finished a project for an office building, and our in-house sort of designer and the guy that takes care of all the shop drawings, if you saw his measurements for all the doors, he had 95.3 angles. He had he basically and I'm looking at him going, I think you're overcomplicating it, but actually he basically measured all the imperfections on the door openings.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You guys aren't messing around then.
No, but
Because you can't. You want to get on site and you want it to fit like an OJ glove. You know what I
Correct.
mean? It has to be
I know.
perfect.
But the thing is that if we're building the whole thing from scratch ourselves, if we are building the property, the frame opening and everything, we know what we're looking for. But if we're relying on trades to build it, that's why I'm talking to you about building our own team, because when we have our own team doing the work, we're not solely relying on just somebody.
It's body parts. Everybody, the arm, the legs, whatever. So
Exactly.
everyone is all connected and we all
and
build
we're
something.
all synchronized. We're
Yes.
sitting
So-
together. We're sharing thoughts together.
We take a little bit of extra time in sort of the reason we do these these detailed drawings of even the imperfections. Most of the trades, where do we lose money in going back and forth and back and forth?
You're so right.
1,000%.
And staying on a job for a week where you could have got out of there in 2 days.
Nobody cares about the next guy. That's the problem.
Yeah, so spend an extra day in the design of it, and you can get in and out cleanly, and it's a win-win for everybody. So
Who's that? Who's that?
it's not us.
Oh.
It's the people in the shop.
I thought we told the guys no phones in the shop.
No, it's
I
fine, it's fine.
I gotta address that now. No, just
I had a project where I had Negin, if you know her. She did the shoot for us.
Yes.
She actually went with a Matterport. She scanned the whole building for us. So when you do it with the Matterport, first of all, you have the actual presentation of what the place is like in the real life. You can 3D model. It's 3D modeled. But the one thing that was a deal breaker for me was the measurements. You can actually put measurements on the map, but there's a tolerance. There is like 1 inch off. So if you're measuring with the laser, if it says 50 inch 0.2, with the drawings that we got from the Matterport, there were about an inch difference.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
actually pretty big.
It is big, but it wasn't designed. The Matterport wasn't designed to kind of give you laser scale measurement. It was designed to
Accuracy.
give you the model for real estate industry because people want to put the model of the property in the market. But I was thinking if I can use that service and help me to understand the space and measure it without going to the physical site, I thought that would be beneficial to us. But when I find out, I mean, we still can use that system a lot because understanding the space, looking at it, doing some rough measurements for job costing, that really helps. But in order to do it for building something with that measurement, where we have to build a frame, an opening, and everything, it's not the. I was hoping that would help me with the measurements, but we still have to go the old school way and measure points.
So that's why we got a rash.
That's why we're gonna rush. Yeah.
Because we send him out and he goes to measure and he comes back at the end of the day and it's like, what are you doing the first couple of times? But now we get it. He's measuring imperfections.
And then the imperfections are driving you crazy.
No, it doesn't drive us crazy. We plan for it after.
Yeah.
So we
You
know
have
what to
to.
expect, right?
Yeah.
Is that the machine that you were telling me about that you can actually scan, like me, you can scan a person?
No, so there's different type of measurement devices. There is actually devices that you can put in a room and it can, with the laser point, it can measure every inch of your wall. But when it brings that model to the computer, it's a very massive file because imagine all those points that it measured, right? Now somebody's gonna take that file and clean it up. And there's so much work in there involved where sometimes for the type of work we're doing, we're only working on a niche wall and I don't need to go create all that. Or if I'm doing the whole project, the entire residential work and whatever, I would probably consider it because for maybe $2,000 spending, you can actually have the entire house in the 3D model in your computer, laser perfect measurement, where you don't have to go to the physical site to measure openings. But with the Matterport, it's more like $400, $500 scan. It gives you the actual visualization of the space. Measurements could be off by 3/4 or 1 inch, but it's very good for calculation of the job costing.
So can you guys walk us through, client comes in from the whole process? Because I know that upstairs,
Yeah.
there's the whole brain center.
Yes.
Where all the work happens on a computer before it actually gets into a machine down here.
So if we do sit with the client, we give them ideas. First of all, we always work with their budget, right? So if they have a budget of building something, we look at the budget and we try to use products that will not blow their budget, right? So it's important to understand what they're willing to spend because it all starts from there.
How do they know how to come up with a budget? I've always had
They
that
probably
question.
have a pre-approval from a bank.
Well, that's what I mean, is that their budget was not based on the skill or the material or the work to be performed.
Well, okay, so we try and work within somebody's budget and we give them a couple of options. So here's sort of, a nice design that's going to cost this. We can swap out, one material for another material, save you a little bit of money. We don't have to go as complex. And then, you kind of let the customer decide what route they want to take.
So right off the bat, they present you a budget, a scope of work.
Not all the time.
Not all the time, but they kind of present it, and then they have an idea that they want to create, so they have some sort of drawings for you guys. But based on your experience, you can already start to assess, okay, your budget is reasonable, or this is the X amount that we're looking for, and then you go from there.
Well, just like in any scenario in this business, like somebody may come in with an unrealistic budget, right? So somebody says, I want to redo, let's say my kitchen, and my budget's $15,000 with appliances. So you're laughing, right? So, yeah, we do get some people.
You can build it for Barbie at that price.
But it's. If you go into a showroom, and you see, 20 grand worth of appliances, everything built in, or 60 grand worth of appliances, you got to qualify and kind of tell them, listen, this is where you're looking, right? So, we're up front. We don't start
Education.
Yeah, well, part of the job is you're educating everybody.
Yeah.
But the beauty here is because we have the printing and signage and all the other world where a typical millwork shop will not have, if building a wall or a feature wall with the traditional woodworking, it's going to be more expensive because the cost of the materials are more expensive. We can design it with printing a custom wallpaper. So we can say, listen, I can also bring your ideas
Hold up, did
to
you
life.
just say custom wallpaper?
Yes.
What have you'll make the wallpaper?
Yes. Yeah,
You know,
there's
can
nothing-
we go back just a little bit? I know we're talking about customers already, and we're talking about how the process goes, but I don't feel like the listeners really know in each category. Like, let's start with residential. What are the things that a residential or like a GC or a contractor or a homeowner would come to you to digitally make, or like what do you guys do in homes? Kitchens, niches.
Yeah, so like let's say a feature wall, right? So we can actually even print on let's say plywood. So let's say we do a 3D design layered up, and then the finish on it could be printed.
You print it like
print it.
like a Xerox. I'm like a
Yeah.
print.
Yes.
Yeah, it goes on a printer.
I would say we can print on tiles, custom tiles for bathroom project. We have done actually for a Marlboro, we did a project where we printed on the glass.
They won't fade.
No.
It won't fade.
No.
So UV cured paint, or not paint, or ink.
Ink.
Yeah. So we do for residential. Even the last project we did a lot of wall paneling, where it was all fabric covered with upholstery. We did the headboards. It was
some
it
custom
was
headboards.
all MDF pieces cut on a CNC, and then every one individually was wrapped with fabric, which was all done in house. We did that work. But pretty much any work in a residential, there's nothing that we can't do. We can do custom grills. We can do custom air returns. We can.
Oh,
do
I
the-
like that.
Yeah.
Actually, we did have a customer in here last week. They, again, I don't know why most of the HVAC guys, they decide to put a cold air return in the middle of a feature wall.
You know what? I've had to change that. They've made a solid piece that you can't get in there and clean or access.
So
You're so right.
So we had a client, I think they must have spent probably almost 80 grand worth of stonework on this wall, and there was, an ugly ass cold air return. And we made him actually a screen
With brass.
that actually covered it. So it looked like a
Wow.
feature piece, right? It wasn't the screen anymore.
So there is a lot of aspects in residential. I don't think there is nothing in terms of millwork that is required in a millwork package that we can't do. Obviously we can help design something completely custom and different. For example, the last project we did an island, and the island was all different angles. Like the island wasn't just like your basic everyday island. So we offered the client for an extra $20,000, we can give you the coolest island. And I honestly think that was one of the reasons it helped them to sell the property so fast, because the kitchen alone, it wasn't your typical kitchen. It was really
It had a
different.
signature touch, yeah.
Yeah,
It
so
wasn't shaker.
they sold a no. I
Why
know.
wasn't it shaker?
I know.
Geometrical shaker. Nobody's done that
I know
yet.
you hate
I
shaker.
fucking can't stand shaker.
know.
I love that island. I saw that. How do you? What would you guys call that island? Do the guys upstairs give these names to these things, or they?
No, I don't think they named it, actually.
It just had some really unique shape to it and angles.
You
and
guys can check it out probably on our Instagram.
It's
maybe.
online,
I
yeah.
think it's online. But we're gonna have Negan to go and take a picture of the finished project.
Nice.
We try now to use this service of professionally shooting the finished work and showcasing it, because I think
So
that
worth it.
or creating a short video. I think the video is the way to showcase your work now. So
worth it.
yeah. So and that's the residential. To answer your question, and in the commercial, again, a restaurant will have a lot of different features. It will have custom banquettes. We'll have a niche wall. We'll have pony walls. We'll have reception for maybe the host stand, you would say, and then it goes to bar. We do a lot of bars, and even feature a top of the bar, which is all metal fabricated. Now, a lot of the metal work we outsource, but we do have in-house capabilities just to kind of like get around some of the things we need to right away. By doing everything in-house, it really helps us to do the projects much faster than a lot of the traditional shops.
And cleaner.
And cleaner and
Yeah.
faster.
You haven't had a client come in here, commercial or residential, propose something, then you guys have said no.
No.
No, we don't really.
No.
You don't
turn
know how to
away.
say no.
No, we don't.
We don't know how to say no.
Actually,
Get some drinks in these boys.
Actually, the other thing too is we don't just stick to the final drawing. We actually put on put input into it. Like
You
for
creatively
example,
contribute.
Yeah.
like what I dislike is, you create a nice piece of work and then, you got like an ugly wall socket and they're telling you to cut around your work and have this. So, we actually sit down and it's like, okay, can we move this? Can we move that? And again, that's why I made the comment about the, HVAC guys love to stick
Yeah.
cold air returns in the best of places.
But you know what, Tim? I really liked what you said. A lot of people would want to cover that return up and just try to put a Band-Aid over it. You're actually like making it pop out and taking the eyesore and turning it into something sexy or something classy.
Yeah, we're trying to incorporate it in the design and kind of hide it, like where you won't even know that it's a cold air return. You just think it's part of the feature wall.
I know we veered off a little bit because we were starting the whole process of a client coming in. We're upstairs, and what are the next steps that go from there? You guys got to go through a whole approval process.
Well, generally we got to get the feeling from the client what they want, because you always have to design within, like, if somebody dislikes green, I'm not going to say, okay, we think we should do green, right? So we get basically what they want. Like we had a client that said, I want Scandinavian warm.
Scandinavian warm.
Yeah, that's what he said he wants for a design for the house.
So what exactly is Scandinavian warm?
Yeah, he showed us a couple of pictures. We brainstormed a little bit in the boardroom, and then the next step is, we put together a design. We run it by him.
To answer you, that's Baltic birch, a lot of birch finish, a lot of light color finish,
Washed.
and with white,
Red, yellows.
white with exactly.
Yeah.
Really?
That's probably what
That's
you want.
Scandinavian warm.
Yeah,
guess.
like everything is floating. Like vanities are floating.
What's-
The kitchen lowers are floating.
Very modern.
Yeah,
What's-
he wanted
what's-
all the
what's
lower kitchen floating. And I'm like, okay, and lights
lights.
underneath.
What's
That's wicked.
what's Canadian cold?
That I don't know actually.
I would
Blue,
say white.
silver, blue, silver, and white.
But then we'll actually put together a 3D rendering.
Wow.
Okay, so he knows exactly what product he's getting.
Okay, then you guys say 3D rendering, and I start thinking back in my film days and how time-consuming and expensive it was. Is it still or no?
Well, with the help of softwares, everything is getting easier to model things, right? So, for example, I have a library of cabinetry that I can just pop it in my workflow in the software, and just click a button and it will start rendering. So it's not as difficult as it used to be, maybe because we have a library of a lot of things we have done in the past. So when we're modeling the space, we just pop all the cabinets in the space, and we take it to SketchUp. We can add custom finishes
Love
from
SketchUp.
the yes.
Yeah.
and we can start rendering the work, right? So I always like to show the client what they're gonna get. I like to give them as much as information I can. I like to I kind of really hate to do work that I don't like. So if a client brings me a job that I'm not really connecting to it, I kind of try to stay away.
I'm the same way.
You know
I'm
what?
the
I
same
think
way.
we all are. A lot of times customers think that, they have to earn our respect. We have to earn their respect, but really they have to earn ours too, right?
Because you're spending in a year, you might do 15 or 20 projects. And every project you want to be able to put to your portfolio and show your work. And I don't want 5 of those to be something that I dislike and I can't showcase, because I feel like I'm wasting my time.
Well, what
I love it.
Well, what I was going to say is we do stray away, but it is also a business. So, even if
Gotta
we
pay the
don't-
bills.
You got to pay the bills, right? So we've done some work that, the client loved it, but we're not happy about it, so we don't advertise it.
Yeah.
So, what are
No,
your
I know. I've been there. Trust me, man. I've been there. You have to.
What are your favorite projects so far that you guys are still talking about?
I don't know. I would say La Carnita restaurant in Square One. It was very different and fun. It was the both projects I'm going to talk about is restaurant. So Earl's Restaurant and La Carnita was one of my favorites. And I liked also working on Porsche project, which we did, which was a pop-up store within Porsche, which we did one in Toronto, and then we had to add some extra components for the Vancouver location, which we built a reception, kitchenette, believe it or not, all based on a drawing that came from Germany. And everything looked identical to what it was in the drawing.
Wow.
And we shipped it out to Vancouver, and we flew one of our guys there to supervise the installation process. And I think those were stuff that I always remember. And the Samsung in Eaton Center was another fun project. We did all the receptions, all the curved Corian work. I guess anything that is not boring, straight pieces, I like.
and the other thing is the projects are different too. Like when Anatol said we did La Carnita, that was like a very rustic, they wanted to make it look like the restaurant was there for like 30 years.
That is wicked.
But then when we did Earl's, it was quite the opposite. Like, they wanted like perfection. They wanted it to look like a fine piece of furniture, the whole showroom.
When we sat with the client for a meeting, the client said, "I don't want the products coming out of your shop to look like a finished product from a fabrication shop. I want it to look old, rustic." So it was very difficult because we were just coming off of Porsche, where the client was
Clean.
Precision.
looking for 100% precision work. You couldn't find a dot on that job. Where the next job, they wanted to take a chain and beat up all the work and break them apart. And I was like, it's very difficult.
Is that what you guys literally did, or you guys don't want to
No,
share how you did?
we left it to them to do it. So which client apparently took a chain and started hammering the pieces.
No,
Yes.
really?
I love it.
Yeah.
Is that the job where there was a
La
tradesperson
Carnita.
standing on top of the bar, broke, or what's going on?
Yes, that's correct.
Because I've never seen a tradesperson standing on top of a countertop that's brand new. That never happens.
You know what? Every time we do a bar, my first recommendation is that we don't put the carcass of the bar in, because it just turns into one big work table.
Yeah.
For
You're
electricians,
exactly
for
right.
everybody.
I know.
But they don't always listen to me, so.
But I
what
actually
do know?
I learned this because with the help of our cameras today, everybody has one in their hand. I suggest to the client, millwork is a finished product. It should come last. And it honestly slow our process of installation down while there is 500 trades there trying to work. We have to wait for an electrician to run the cables, and then we can work in the area. It's just, they want everybody there to show the client everybody's working, but nobody's working because everybody's into each other's nose.
Your work is arriving on site finished
Yes.
for the most
Yes.
part. Like
Yes.
there's only been a handful of projects where you had to site finish
Correct.
your work.
We have to sometimes modify because they've changed something, but everything leaves the spray booth in the shop finished.
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 And then assembled on site.
Yeah.
With
And-
one of you guys standing there with a sandwich with like mayonnaise just dropping from it, right?
Oh,
Is that
no,
what's going on?
No. Actually, even though me and Anatol are like the owners of the business, if we have a deadline, I remember actually quite a few deadlines where, and we didn't go home for 3 or 4 days.
Sleep deprivation, huh?
Oh yeah.
The thing is that if you see on a job site with a finished millwork and they're still running, electricians are running cables or pipes, and they're walking with long pipes or ladders and turning, everybody takes a corner, right? And I always take a
man.
picture. I always take a picture to cover myself. Here is the finished product, and everything else becomes extra work orders.
No, but we usually will hold on and make sure that it gets installed properly. That's why I said, we've gone down where, let's say they've given us 2 weeks to install everything, and we've done it in a week because we don't want to get our work sort of ruined and then have to redo it, even though they may pay us to refinish stuff that gets.
You don't want to do it. I hate that. I know I did a job early on in my career where they had a flood, and they asked me if I wanted to come back and do it. I was like, nope.
No. Yeah, you don't want to.
I don't want to do it.
You don't want to take it apart and then redo
Yeah,
it again.
I don't want to do it, right? So they
Yeah.
got somebody else to do it, and he was Mr. Hackville, right?
I
So-
always like to do the work in-house in the shop. Even if you have to stay overnight in the shop, you're much more productive, right? You have all the tools, you have equipment, you have your spray booth with you. It's definitely better to do it that way.
I'm sure you guys are like me, where you walk into restaurants and commercial places and other people's homes, and you don't care what the conversation is. You're just looking at the details.
Correct, 100%.
Well, my family thinks I'm a little off. Like, I'll be sitting at the bar, like, waiting for a table, and
Yeah.
then my wife's like, why are you feeling the bottom of the bar?
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
well,
do the exact same
I'm like-
thing. I do
I'm
the
like,
exact same thing.
They used really good plywood, and they didn't have to, so I'll appreciate good work.
Have you actually gone down on your knees and looked underneath to see if they actually finished it properly, or they just kind of cheated it?
Oh, I can
I always
feel,
do. You just
actually.
feel it.
I can feel it.
I take my camera, I take it under the table, table, take a shot, bring and look at the finishes.
It's like a really nice spot for gum, you know?
I'm not even allowed over at my friends' places. They say shut up and don't say anything when you walk in the door.
Yeah, but then just the look on your face when you're staring up and around,
Yes.
it's like,
That's why
oh
you're
my
doing
God,
it.
he's not coming over
So,
again.
so what city is actually doing some really good work? Like what? Like you guys have traveled, so you guys see other places, or is Toronto up there? Is Toronto? Because I've been in a lot of places in Toronto, and they're nice. They're actually really nice ideas, good work.
I haven't been to Europe yet, but I heard from a friend of my partner, actually, Irvin. He's not in this conversation. He does a lot of the printing and signage in our company. He goes to Europe a lot, and he says in Europe you see the best architecture, nicest finishes that I haven't seen yet. So I can't really judge to see which part of the world has the best. Apart from Dubai, I've been in Dubai. I think Dubai is heavy on stone. They do a lot of stone. They're not really into so much millwork detail as much as they do a lot of stonework there. But I think Europe probably is the one. I think Tim
Yeah,
can
so
talk about it.
I travel to Europe every summer. So I have a place in Greece, but then on my way in, I like to always visit another country. So I've been to Spain, I've been to Portugal, I've been to Italy. And funny enough, I walk into like a kitchen showroom. So the only thing that's right is, yeah.
What's it look like?
Well, okay, so this summer I was in France, and literally there was a kitchen showroom across the street from the hotel, right? So, you know, I woke up in the
Couldn't
morning.
help yourself.
Check it out.
Yeah, so what I find there, and our market is evolving and changing, but, you know, I saw a bright, glossy red kitchen.
Oh, that's so nice.
So it's something that you wouldn't really see here. Now, I'm noticing a lot of the condos, though, everybody here is starting to go for these, you know, the newer, the more modern stuff,
Blues,
right?
greens,
So,
yeah.
you know, there is a big market that's still stuck on Shaker, and I know how much you love it. Well, listen, against my will, my wife made me put Shaker cabinets in the laundry room.
Laundry room's okay.
I would say when we do design in-house, we are not afraid of exploring new products and new finishes. I like to mix them. There is a new product we just got. I got so excited over it, and this is the funny story I got to tell you. So we got a black core MDF that it was brought to us.
hang on,
Black core MDF. Always MDF. The core is like particles of wood color, right? It's like it's beige color.
So you got a black core version.
Yeah, it's from Spain. And when my Western products brought it to me first, and I looked at it, I'm like, I can't believe this exists. They said it's popular in Europe, not in Canada. And I'm like, okay, how come you guys don't stock this product? I'll buy it all the time. He told me out of the 600 shops, because he told me how many sales guys they have and how many of them they went and showed these to all the shops. Out of 600 shops in Toronto that they've showed it to, I was the only person who placed an order.
That's awesome.
But he said
nobody
there
saw
was,
the
there was
potential.
there was 3 that showed interest, and we're the only ones that have ordered material.
I ordered a
I
pallet.
love that. I love that.
But he also showed us not only a black core MDF, he showed us a color core. So it's black, red, and black.
Yeah.
So we don't even have to finish the edges. Like, you know, you just sand it,
That's
you
already a
clear
design
it.
there.
It's a design, yeah.
Wow.
Incorporating that in our design, it's very important. So I like to showcase. This is how we become a unique shop, right? Because you're showcasing new products, new finishes, something that other shops are not practicing, or even they're afraid to show it to their clients. Because if the clients like it, now it's not accessible. Now they got to order it from Spain. But I'm looking to showcase my work nicer, so I kind of
what we did with
bring
this
it and
material
introduce it, right.
actually, because at first I said, okay, can you send us a few sheets? You know, we'll buy a few sheets. Just we didn't have a client for it. It's like I'm pretty sure we can screw around and make something nice with it.
Price point wise, what are we talking about here?
Uh,
Like 4 times the regular?
Yeah.
Yeah,
4 times, eh?
yeah.
Okay.
But then, you know, it's like we don't stock it. I'm like, so why'd you show it to us? So then Anatol goes, you know what? Bring me a skid of each.
But
Bring me a skid of each.
But the product, if the product is 4 times the price, but it's also no finishing involved after. So
You
that's
gotta
how I look at
save
it.
the cost
Yeah,
later on.
That's brilliant.
I know.
I look at the thing, okay, yes, the product is more expensive, but then I don't have a finishing process.
You're thinking about the future. That's excellent. yeah.
Exactly. So
It's also nice because most of my dress shirts have colored stitches, and that's just like that little thing that makes that shirt or that button that's a different color than the shirt. It really gives it a different taste,
that's
right?
correct. Yes.
Like for example, if we groove a piece of MDF, and then you ask a finisher, okay, so the grooves have to be black and then the other outside has to be white. Most finishers will walk away from the job.
They won't know how to do it.
Well, not that they won't know how to do it. Nobody
So
wants to
much work.
sit there and put 3 coats of primer and sand inside the grooves, whereas this is, it's a light sand, it's a seal, and we can laminate the top with a white, and then you got your black groove. And then if you want another color, you got your red groove. So
I
hence
love
why-
that.
Hence why, there's 3 colors, and Anatol also bring me a palette of
A
each.
palette of each. You guys ever have clients come in, you guys do a mock-up, you're really excited, the ideas are going, they're flowing, the creativity is great, and all of a sudden
the prototype.
nope, we don't want it.
It's I truly
do what I
believe-
do?
I truly believe the work we do. I kind of filter all that. I don't let it to get to the stage where I'm going to surprise.
I
them
don't
that
have a
they're-
problem with them saying no, because the thing is, I learned. I figured out how to solve a new creative idea, and I know later on it will get used somewhere else. I know it. I get upset. I'm pissed off.
I've never had a case where we helped the client design something nice that they said no. It's possible that they love the design but they don't have the budget for it.
Yes.
But they're not saying no because they don't like it.
But they're saying no still, right? But you guys put a lot of effort into
But
this.
Yes,
that's
that's
why,
correct.
That's why we do the 3D renderings, so everybody knows what they're getting.
I'll be honest with you. The
It's more clean cut, right?
Yeah. makes a lot of sense.
Pinterest helps us a lot. We can show and understand maybe 60-70% of their vision. We show them the pictures, like, what do you think about this one? And then we will mix them. We will say, we'll take some of the ideas from there and we will create some of our own. We will put it together. We will do a render, or first we will show them the flat version. We will just basically to put the materials together, show it like, this is what something we're working. Do you like it? We do it every step. We don't go all in and then surprisingly find out that they don't like it.
Yeah.
We like to kind of like, fill them in as we're working on it to make sure that the end result product is something they like.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I want to say something that I always like saying is that I'm really proud that we're Canadian and it's a Canadian company. And I love hearing that most of your work is being sent out to places like New York, which is like the fashion capital.
Correct.
Like, you guys are doing some really interesting stuff that you guys should be really proud of as Canadians.
Yes.
Because we've lost so much business in this country going out. It's, I'm just really happy to see this technology here and that you guys are making a difference. Manny was saying you guys haven't entered Europe yet. Is that something you guys are interested in doing?
And to do work for Europe?
Yeah. Send it there.
Listen,
Like-
I'll do it for anywhere. I don't care. It's just, I like to do unique work. I don't like to do, I truly believe if it's so simple to do, it will be done in China.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
I like creating a unique type of designs and work. By mixing the signage, printing, and millwork, I kind of come up with a product that it's not easily doable by other,
Duplicate,
duplicatable, right? So,
Well, it was easy. Everybody would be doing it.
yeah.
But the problem is that everybody's doing it still the old school way, and I'm still surprised that they're embracing new glues and new tools and new stuff like that, but they're not embracing new creativity.
So one thing is, a lot of people won't embrace the new materials. So you said what's different.
Yeah.
So we brought in these panels, the CDF panels, and the sales reps telling us they've been using these for 20 years in Europe,
Yeah.
I'm always surprised by that. I know.
and it's like
Wow.
it's new. We just got them.
Are we much different than the U.S.? Is the U.S.
I think U.S. is
they're
more-
embracing it?
Yeah, they're embracing it faster than Canada is. Canada is kind of stuck on the old palette.
Well,
Yeah.
what I see different and not only in our industry but most industries, in the U.S. when something new comes out, the businesses invest more in the business. It's like, for example,
Yeah.
if a new machine comes out, there'll be shops that'll buy it. If there's a new computer system that comes out that can greatly improve the efficiency, they'll invest in it. Here you walk into a lot of businesses and you still see 20-year-old monitors.
Yeah, I know. I know you do. Tubes, huge tubes, man.
Yeah.
The original Dell logo.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
know. I totally see that, right? So what would you guys tell the young guys that are getting into millwork? I mean, they should be paying attention to you guys. Like your team here,
Yeah.
are they all millwrights? Like, are they they a bit of everything?
They're a bit of everything. Everybody does everything here. So I would say if if somebody wants to get into it, if it walks into a shop that they don't have a CNC, will not be as attractive for a younger generation to be working in that shop. But when you're coming to a shop like us, there's so many cool toys that
diverse.
it actually becomes fun, because everybody who walked in here, their first impression was, this is like a dreamland. I would love to work here.
So
actually, we have a kid there.
we
hired.
have a young guy that just called out of the blue. And
Can you
said,
show
know,
him in the camera? He's there with his hair
You
is
mean
curly.
the guy with the highlights, the sawdust highlights?
Yeah. So he saw us online and basically said, I need to do a co-op for a couple of weeks.
Man, this is heaven.
So
Yeah.
he's like, where can I start? When can I start? But actually, it turns out he's a good kid. He knows his work. He's got a small little shop in his own garage, so he's good with all the
Wow.
tools. So I even told
He
him.
started
I said,
2 days ago.
I said, you know what? If you want to stick around. We'll pay you.
How old is he?
He's 17.
17.
Oh man, really?
Yeah.
And he knows what he's doing.
Oh, he's lucky.
That's
He
a
is lucky.
huge.
What an opportunity.
Well, the thing is, it's an opportunity for everybody, because honestly, whenever we try and hire, sometimes we put in an ad saying, we need a mill worker, and it's scary what shows up.
I hired.
What do you
I
mean? Like,
hired-
in what way? Like, they call themselves millwrights and mill workers, but they're
And
not.
They have no clue. Like you hand them an impact driver with a 2-inch screw, and you said, can you put that in that piece of wood, and then they can't. They're like
I
falling
did-
off to the side.
I did hire a professional who knew millwork better than any of us here. He was a very skilled mill worker. Even the skilled guy, he didn't last in my shop. He came, he told me, I'm not needed here. I'd rather go work in a shop where they will appreciate my skill.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you know why?
Yeah,
'Cause
he quit.
He was intimidated by the fact
Machinery.
that the
Yeah.
machinery. Yeah. So it would take him, like, let's say, all morning to cut something perfectly round, and then one of the guys would just put it on the machine, sketch
like
up
5
a
seconds.
circle. And he's
Well,
like, okay,
But there's a
what?
lot of truth to
Screw this.
You're spending 20, 30 years in the business, and then you perfect, your art, and then all of a sudden now technology's taking it to somewhere
You know
else.
what? I actually saw it in his eye. He came here. He wanted every one of us to learn from him.
What?
Yeah, because he's like, I'd rather go work somewhere where I will be teaching my skills to others. And I'm like, great. This is like, finally I found somebody who knows what he's doing. not knowing that he's not going to last more than a month. He came, he pulled me aside. He said, I'm sorry. I don't think you need me. And I'm like, no, I do need you. There's sometime that unique work we have where it's not easily done on a CNC. He's like, why don't you call me the time you have that work, and I'll come in the after hours, help you on that specific job. Then
Well,
you
so
don't
you
have
never
to.
lost them. You still have them.
Yeah,
You know
but-
what? Actually, yes, I do have him. He suggested that. He said, I will be more appreciated in a shop that has no CNC because they need to cut the circle by hand the old school way. The story happened that I came in the morning. I kind of asked him, what have you done since 8 o'clock? And it was 10 a.m. He made a jig. He was trying to cut a circle. And I'm like, 2 hours at $30 an hour, $60 past. You're only cutting a circle. And I'm like, why didn't you ask any of my guys to do it? He's like, then why do you need me? And I'm like, but if I put it on a CNC, it will be done in no time. It's like not even a minute.
Well, like I said,
Wow,
we're,
that's amazing.
we're building these round displays, whatever. And if I had somebody that needed, a couple of hours to cut a circle, so those are layered up circles, I would have to sell each one for $30,000, not $3,500.
That's insane, man.
No, you're right.
He was just in. How long did he last?
1 month.
1 month.
He was here for 1 month,
Yeah.
and he realized
He was skilled. I can tell you, he's the type of guy where he was on a job site. He could take a piece of metal and carve it and shape it to a molding. He told me that he was on a job in downtown Toronto. There was a molding that he had to match. So he actually shaped the molding with a paper and he put it on a metal. He traced it. He sharpened it that he could put it on a router and continue that same mold. Like, he was skilled to that level.
he was skilled, but he's not embracing new technology skilled.
Yes, and he didn't find that his knowledge would benefit us, and we are overpaying.
But all of us at this table here and in this industry, every day you're supposed to learn something new.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Once you stop learning, then get the fuck out.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So-
but he didn't want to learn. So
he
I was
doesn't want to
saying-
learn. He wants to keep his whole
Correct.
way.
Exactly.
So he hopped into his DeLorean and went back to the past.
Yes, that's correct.
That's what he did, right?
Yeah.
Well,
That was his comfort zone.
That's Back to the Future.
like okay, for example, we have a 24-inch planer, right? Now, if somebody wants a table straightened out and it's a live edge, I'm not going to go buy a 48-inch planer. I'm going to put it on the CNC machine.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah,
mill
you
it.
put like a
Just
5-inch,
mill it.
5-inch flat bead
fly
on
cutter.
it, fly
Yeah.
cutter, and you just fly cut the whole top.
and then
Wow.
flip it and then straighten it.
that brings up a point. Is there a machine that you guys don't have yet that you want?
Yes.
A larger laser cutter?
No, I want. I'm actually investing in putting a structure above the CNCs where a robot will be loading the machines. It's a management system for all the panel. So we will eliminate all the racks that we have. We will store all our products above the mezzanine, and there won't be an inch of space for you to go even step there because the robot will be placing the panels there, and we'll have an inventory of what products we have up there. So you tell the robot, hey, go grab a mahogany sheet, and knows at where it's stored. He will go bring it and put it on the CNC ready to cut. There's no manhandling products or damaging them.
Manhandling, I love it.
Yes.
And you're so right. Something always hits the ground.
So we do produce good work, but it only gets damaged when you're handling it. It's just taking it from a point to point, or before it goes to the edge bander, a flat, beautiful cut piece, you lift it on the wrong angle, you can chip the corners.
Yeah.
It's always handling. I mean, I'm trying to improve that. That's what I'm trying to. It's about $300,000 investment, but you know what?
Well, it's the mezzanine's not the big part. It's the robotic arm that is. But and this is where I say a lot of people don't want to invest in the business. The reason we're investing in this is, let's say we have our cut files ready from the day before. That machine will sort each piece in order on when they're going to be cut.
At nighttime
Oh
when we're not
my
here.
God.
So
Yeah.
when the CNC operator comes in the morning, basically he hits play and it puts the first sheet. Let's say it's black melamine, and then it goes through 3 sheets, and let's say the next one is actually like a veneered wood. The veneered wood is being dropped.
But
in
all
order.
that sorting, it's happening at night when we're not here. So we tell the robot, tomorrow we're cutting 25 sheets, and it consists of this list.
It'll stack the
It
25
will stack
sheet
the
in the
25
order of-
sheets in an order of how you're going to cut.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's unbelievable.
yeah.
That actually we're investing in, where it's not if we're in the planning stages for
When
that right
To
now.
have it right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Does that
happening.
mean there's still going to be someone here in case the computers go down? Or
No, because the robot is not going to harm anybody. It's not like cutting or doing anything.
It's
It
just
literally
sorting.
it's sorting panels. So it's safe enough to do that while we are not here, because it's happening in top of the mezzanine. It's picking a material from one port, putting it down, picking up another, putting it down. The only thing we have to probably have is that our air compressor has to be actively running. So
And,
that's
and
probably,
these things have fail safes. There's a camera on it. Now, worst case scenario, let's say it stops working, it doesn't sort.
it doesn't sort.
I just all of a sudden had an image of the Terminator being a woodworker, man.
Oh no, it's gonna go on the outside of his van.
Wow, but that's the younger generation and all the other guys that are in this business should be embracing this kind of stuff, man.
Yeah, because nobody wants to go and handle a heavy sheet of 7
it's a
by
pain in
9.
the
It's a
ass,
pain.
I don't
man.
have a problem with it.
No, they're heavy,
wait,
man.
Hold on
They're
a second.
heavy.
Most of the new product coming out of Europe right now, the MDFs with the nice papers, they're 7 by 9.
Ooh, I like it.
There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah.
How much do they weigh?
About
7?
About 110, 120 pounds.
Wow.
You want to handle that all day long?
I don't. I don't.
So what are you looking for? I know we talked a little bit about it, but what are you, or what qualifications would you need for a job to be here? Like, what is it that you think
If
someone
you can
looking for a
assemble
job?
IKEA, you can work here.
Wow.
Well, okay.
Really?
No,
That
hol-
simple?
No, hold on.
Yeah,
Let me.
He's simplifying it too
No,
much.
no.
simplifying it.
What I was gonna say is, if you have a little bit of finesse, you're careful with tools, we're willing to invest and train.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I say invest and train, in the way we work here, it might take 3 months to bring somebody up to speed, but as long as like when I say finesse, the reason I brought up that example, you hand somebody an impact driver and a screw and see how he puts it into a piece of 2x4, you can tell if the person's got finesse or not.
Yes, very much so.
So, if you have the finesse for finished carpentry, yeah, we'll invest the time and train.
It's not difficult because we try to get the machine to do 99%. Even those layered up pieces, you don't need the precision of a millwork guy to know and feel his fingers, make sure he's holding it right before he shoots a nail. We're not even nailing them. We put dowels on them with CNC, and the dowel is doing its job holding them in their position. Once they get to the top layer, they just put a clamp on it and it's done.
So what are some of the projects that you're doing right now in shop? Can we talk about a couple of them?
We are finishing the project for Oceans, New York. It's a Japanese restaurant, and then we are also finishing our showroom upstairs. We're doing a kitchen. We are building a feature wall, which is all displayed on the floor. That's our boardroom table that you saw the leg.
Yeah.
So we used the time in January, February. It wasn't really busy for construction outside. A lot of our clients are bidding a lot of work. We are waiting for them to get approved. So we took the time to finish our showroom, which we never had a chance. So we are working on our showroom as well as filling another project in between, which is the Oceans, New York. And we just recently got an office building in downtown that has kitchen in there.
Nice.
Yeah.
When we first walked in this morning, Manny was like a kid in a toy store. He walks me right over to that piece you guys have there. There's 20 sheets layered
How many
up.
sheets? 30 sheets? 20 sheets?
No, yeah, it's about 20 sheets of it.
20 sheets of a Baltic birch.
Baltic birch.
Baltic birch made
All
into
stepped.
a boardroom. Yeah.
And Manny you should have seen him. He was drooling. He's like, take a look at this, man. He's like, these guys are amazing. I love it.
It's the first place that I walked into where the creativity is ahead of me instead of behind me. And I was
Thank
blown
you.
away by that.
No,
right?
but you
Thank
were so excited about the future.
Yeah.
And, we were talking about older guys being afraid of technology. This guy was like, this is
embracing
where
it,
it's
man.
going, man.
Yeah.
I look at that boardroom table and I don't want to cut those by hand. I don't want to rip them down by hand.
Hell no.
I don't.
I still would have been cutting.
Yes, I know. 20 sheets there that have to be stepped to get the design. I
Listen,
don't want to be doing that.
that's base. The whole process after the design was done on the computer, the cutting and putting it together, it was one day job.
I'm fascinated by
That's
that. You know what I love about
crazy.
that? I love that you can get an idea, you can model it, render it, get it made, produce it, assemble it, get it off, and then get on to the next one. Because we're in this business to come up with better ideas and keep on
Correct.
getting better ideas.
Correct.
Keep on pushing the envelope and trying to figure
See,
out what else we
me,
can do.
for me, exactly. I always make it a challenge for myself. I'm like, how fast I can do this, how optimized I can be. Optimization, it's what makes everything go faster. Because CNC is producing it faster than we are working on the floor. So I'm like, okay, there should be another system that we can make. We maybe build a jig to make that faster. So there's always, the challenge for me is now, first we look at a project, we can dissect it and understand how we're going to build this. But then that's solved. So now what? How can I do it faster? And that process of how we can do it faster, it becomes a new challenge for us. We're like, every time we're trying to speed it up. We're not sticking to one system that works. We're always implementing new ideas. A lot of shops that have a system that works, they're afraid of trying new things.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid. I'm always like,
because it pays the bills, right?
Yes.
You get a routine, and this you guys could be making 20,000 kitchens in here if you wanted to,
correct.
Yes.
but you don't want to be doing 20,000 kitchens in here.
No.
Well, like we've done projects where we've done duplicates, and yeah, it's boring.
I will
after
do a
while.
night shift. Night shift will do 20,000. Day shift will do the fun stuff.
Okay, so you guys must okay, I know we're all shoemakers. Me and Manny, our houses are never complete because we're always doing something for someone else.
Don't go there.
Is there
Don't
any?
go there.
Don't
is
go
there
there.
anything
Don't go there.
that you guys have made for yourselves in your house that you're proud of?
No,
Nothing.
not me.
I have actually.
He has.
What's
Yeah.
that?
So mine's complete actually. And that's why I think Anatol gets in trouble. Actually.
Listen, I started practicing on my own project. So when I started the woodworking, and I'm like, okay, let me give it a shot. It's my house. Nobody's going to complain. But I'm still hearing it from my wife every day.
So here's the other thing. So I'm about 10 years older than Anatol. So I've actually and I mentioned I've built quite a few homes, so I've also been married longer, so I realized that, you know what, just finish it and your life goes easier.
I have to learn from you. I'm just learning that actually now.
Are you? How old are you right now?
48.
Funny enough, we're all the
this-
same age, man.
Yeah, we're the same age.
Yeah. So my wife always says to me, you know what? I'm getting sick and tired. You're finishing everyone's houses and their projects, and my house isn't done.
Nothing.
So I guess if I was your age, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
So-
You'd be finished. You'd be finished.
Okay, so my wife nicknamed me 90% guy because I would always finish everything 90% and leave that last 10%.
That's not a good name. I'm sorry to say, but that's not a good name.
No, not what you're implying. I mean, on the construction side of the home.
I'm 110% guy.
But the last couple of years, if I start something, I finish it. I don't.
So
I don't.
that's good.
I don't move on to another.
But you guys
project.
work together, so I don't understand why it hasn't rubbed off on you.
On what? It is now. I'm gonna have to redo my whole kitchen now.
Oh, man, that's not rubbing off.
So is there anything new that no one's seen that you guys that you're working on now that you're proud of, or is there anything that you've always wanted to do that you're planning to do?
What golden ticket
In
are you guys
building?
waiting for
I
someone
like
to come in?
my vision is to have. So I have certain capabilities in-house, but I want to increase that. I want to have a professional metal, professional stone. I like all of them to be under one roof. I like to be able to go sit in a boardroom with a stone guy, with a metal guy, with all kind of trades, and really go down on the floor and start producing.
Yeah.
That's my vision and dream for future. And the shops that they do it all in-house, they're probably growing faster than anybody else.
Wow.
You guys are going to outgrow this shop.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Hopefully.
I sense it. I know that the rack in the middle is gone already.
Yeah, already
Well,
in my head is gone.
Oh.
I see
Yeah.
a second floor going in.
Well, once the
That's a
mezzanine.
robot.
Listen, once the mezzanine comes in, though, literally all the racks are gone
Yeah.
because the mezzanine will be able to store about 1,000 sheets of material.
1,000 sheets of material.
More than that.
You know what though? Very impressive shop. It's really clean. I've been like snooping around looking, and you guys have lots of space to work around. It's very clean. It's nice to see.
There's no dust in here. It's all controlled.
Well, because we use the Festool sanders most of the time. Some jobs that requires hand sanding, these curved ones, I don't have the right tools to sand it with dust free. It's probably very difficult to do it. But most of our sanding happens with Festool. We have the HEPA filter, dust collectors on them. I mean, clean environment is very important. I think it just makes you happy to work in that area. So
I can just imagine how clean you guys are when you come
we
in
are
and
always
out of
cleaning.
someone's house
Always
or
cleaning.
business. Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted to ask first. I know we're getting really close to saying, you know, a couple of little things that Manny always says. Do you have anything else to say? You guys have a handle people can get a hold of you.
I mean,
What is it? It's digital. It's Digital Fab, right?
Yeah,
digitalfab.ca.
digitalfab.ca is our website.
But the social media handle is Digital Fab.
Underscore Fab. Digital underscore
Fab. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what other social sites you guys on?
LinkedIn. We just
LinkedIn.
started being active on that.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, we've been so busy. I when Tim came as a partner, he's helping a lot by taking some of my tasks. So I'm kind of personally focused on growing the social media part. With your help, with Negin's help. So
Gotta build it.
We're gonna build it.
That's
yeah.
how the word gets out, right?
Correct.
So,
Well, the last couple of years in here too, like we've been busy to the point where you can't put your head up and actually do much more. So right now we're growing, we've staffed up a bit, and this is where we're headed now, right? So now it's time to, we did a lot of hard work to bring it to this place, to the stage that we're at, and now we're basically pursuing sort of advertising.
so this is 4 years old.
Yeah.
4 years old. I mean, that's pretty big.
No, this is
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Now, through that 4 years, there's obviously been like we're talking about all the great things that are happening for you, but there's been a lot of up and downs along the way.
Oh, like
what
any
are
business.
some of the things that you would like to see change in the industry that could make business easier, faster? What would you change if you could change something in the industry to make the business better?
So the production part, it's easy. It's when you go for an install. The going downtown for an install, you can lose half the day just traveling.
know.
And by taking your tools in, taking the tools out, I'm kind of like, we are currently working with LS Don on a modular project where we are going to their facility to put all our millwork there in their facility. It's in a warehouse. And then they take the modular homes and build it on top of each other like a hotel. So all the work is being done on the main floor in a warehouse where it becomes, that's what I see the future. I see the future that we do a lot of work underground, not up on a building.
So, let me sort of clarify. So what they do is, let's say they have a 20-story hotel.
Okay.
So conventional construction for the parking garage and the lobby, elevator shafts and the actual hallways, but then the hotel suites are prefabricated in a factory. So
And what?
They're metal. They're metal. So they have the exterior wall cladding on. The walls inside are finished. The millwork, the furniture, everything is already in. All they do is hoist it into place.
That's it.
And then
So it's kind of like 350 unit, like
Yeah.
the office furniture
Everything.
/ walls and
Everything.
Yeah,
AC
absolutely.
units.
And they just drop it into place.
Yeah.
they drop it into place, and the only thing is there's an opening at every corner of the room where they connect one unit to the next. So it's like Legos.
I see that process will definitely help the installation side. I can see why they're doing that, because to put a hotel together, they're estimating to their clients that in 4 months we can put a hotel together up.
Like, for example, if we had to install, let's say, all the, let's say there was, 100 kitchenettes. The amount of time we would spend just carrying the product
Up and down.
like up elevators, as opposed to just going in a facility and let's say we're going in and installing, 8 a day with a crew of 3. So
Yeah.
with a crew of 3, if they had to go up and down elevators, well, you'd get 2 done a day.
Yeah.
Installation is definitely the most important part that I'm trying to focus on growing it, because if I take my guys from my shop to go and install, then my shop is not producing. So finding reliable installers I'm trying to simplify it to the point where you're going there, it's plug and play. You don't have to do job site fabrications, but there's always challenges in every job. For fabrication and installation, there's always challenges involved. Nothing always goes as you plan. So finding a good installer, it's our challenge. We always have that challenge.
Is it worth getting an installation team separate from the fabrication team, or for me it makes sense to take the fabricator and actually get them to install it because they're familiar with it?
Well, realistically,
And they respect it, right?
Well, yes, but the thing is, you can get installers. You just have to get one of the fabricators to accompany them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so they know how it went together. Now, what we also try and do here is we try and like, for example, we mentioned we did that island. It was a little bit of a pain carrying it into the house because it was a massive island. Now, we could have made it in 6 pieces, but we actually made it in 3. So there was a minimal, we dry fitted it here, everything was done, and essentially it was fairly simple to bolt together when we got it to the site.
Got it.
Yeah.
So we
That
try
makes
and
a
do
lot
a
of
little,
sense.
we do a little bit of planning on our end, but still it's always, the install is always the challenging part.
If there's good installers hearing this, call me.
So you guys are looking for a bunch of people. I mean, and
Yeah.
you guys have a shop and all the toys.
Yeah. So the thing is that when you're fabricating it in the shop, you don't need 100 people here, right? Because the machine is doing most of the work. But if I take the number of people I have on the floor, I will need them for installation, because installation period, you only have so much time before the next trade comes in.
Yeah.
So now I have to unload everybody from my shop to go on a job site to help it install. Now I have nobody here fabricating. So I don't like doing that. I like to outsource the install, but I like the installer to have the mindset of understanding what needs to be done. When he's on the job site, he can troubleshoot. He doesn't have to just call me every time, say, "Oh, what am I doing?"
Micromanage
Right.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
micromanage.
Are you guys making enemies?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
No, just because
Maybe
you are eliminating mill people, right? Like mill workers.
That's not the intent.
No, that's not the intent. But you guys are taking the industry into the future and creating better products more efficiently, but fewer labor
faster,
force.
faster.
So
I
that's
see-
what I'm saying. Are you making enemies that way? Because we know through social media and we know through the industry, guys take a lot of pride in building it, but you can't argue if a guy was cutting that circle, it would take him 2 weeks, and you guys are fabricating it in 2 hours.
Yes.
That's the they're on the side of the
Again,
road.
if it's creating enemies, it's not by intent.
No,
It's that
no.
the products are out there. Everybody can buy the CNC, can learn the software, and can do the exact what we're doing. So if there's an easier way to do it,
I want them to embrace it. I
Yeah.
want the guys to. They have this, like you said. Your guy came in and he knew what he was doing. So it's like, get him the basic knowledge, and then you guys train him on the new knowledge, the new techniques,
Correct.
the
Yeah,
new
absolutely.
everything.
Yeah.
And then you can.
He's gonna have
actually-
a hard time. Whoever works here is gonna have a hard time to go in an old school shop. Will not be able to work.
You can't.
there
It's two
anymore.
different
No.
worlds.
Yeah, it's two different worlds.
But the thing is, if you get somebody that embraces it, just think about how much more creative he could
That's
be.
what. That's what I was saying. Is my creativity's ahead. This is the first warehouse that I walked into, workshop. The creativity was ahead of me instead of behind me.
Okay, so I'm impressed. So I sometimes I follow certain people on YouTube, whatever. So there's a, you see some creative guys that they can sketch up something on paper and actually build it. Now, it may take them a week to build it.
Yeah.
If you can just unleash to that guy, like it's just like taking a calculator away from a kid and just they know the formulas, but then making them do the manual calculations by hand. If you can just give that guy a tool, just think about how much more creative he'll
That's
be.
exactly
Yeah.
it. That's exactly it, right?
And we're
So-
lucky
he'll
to have all
fly,
of them.
actually.
So I'm just saying. I'm not saying it as a negative. You are making enemies of the guys that are refusing to adapt and become a part of the technology.
Correct.
But you are actually making more friends by the guys that want to embrace this technology and use it the same way that you just described it.
Well, listen, every younger generation, they always want the newer things,
Yes.
right? So it's just,
I want to see old
it's-
guys like yourself and myself embracing this kind of shit.
well, I'm embracing it because I can see the value in it, right?
Yeah.
So, what would have taken me, like I designed some stuff for my own house. I did a bed set, a headboard where everything was, individually upholstered. Now, if I had to sit and cut it by hand, like that's
Like-
why I'm embracing
I think,
it.
to be honest with you, I think a lot of people are afraid just getting into this world because they think it's really complicated and challenging in terms of how to become a woodworker. It takes a lot of skills. When I got into this world, I learned a lot of things on YouTube, but because of using the technology, it made it so much easier to build things. If I had to build that curved, the old school way, I would probably hate doing it, and I wouldn't even want to do it. I would refuse the job.
It's true.
Okay, so
But-
when we said we replaced our
Edge
edge
bender.
bander, right? So the old one, you needed serious training on how to use it. This one has a screen like an iPad. If pretty well you can use a smartphone, you can figure it out.
Yeah.
You don't even need to speak English. It shows you pictures.
Yeah, correct.
So if you want one rounded edge and the bottom one square, when you push that, it actually shows you that what it's going to do.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm saying technology really helped me
Why wouldn't you go that
learn
way?
this
Right.
business a lot differently than I would in the old school way. So, I mean, I'm sure if any person who wants to get into it, if they buy a CNC and invest in one and watch a couple of YouTube, they can easily start doing it. It's not that hard.
Now we're talking about cutting the time in half, the labor in half.
More than half, man.
Does that
More than
help? Does that help the buyer, the contractor with pricing?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So
Time
that
is-
so
time
that's
is
given
money.
back. You're giving back to the contractor, the GC, the designer.
They are
homeowner, the client.
buying time. Most of the time they're buying time. We are still taking advantage of the market because we are able to produce it faster on our end. We are marking and selling point, it's still the same price, but our turnaround time. So they're saving on the turnaround time. So if you go to a shop, they say we're gonna need 5 weeks to do this.
which
We're
is
saying-
8.
Yeah, which is also they're saving in time. That means they can open to business faster. They can save money in terms of rent. but we are not necessarily saying, oh, because we are able to produce it so much faster, we always look at the market, see what the market price is. I'm not gonna go undersell and become that cheap guy that does it fast. No, I'm still selling it at the price where I'm making.
You guys are still selling in a quality, right?
Correct.
It's still
Yeah.
quality.
Correct.
Like I look at the products that you guys make, and they're still quality.
Yes.
And anybody that respects this industry and respects woodworking is going to look at it and go, yeah, that's quality. It
Yeah.
would take me forever to do that, but that's still quality.
Correct.
Right.
Speed and quality is still there.
Yeah.
But in terms of pricing, we're not trying to be the cheapest guy in the market. I think that way we would probably create a lot of enemy.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. I would say we're not expensive, we're not cheap, we're fair.
We are fair. Yeah. I'm not saying we're expensive at
Like
all.
I truly believe that for the product we put out, we're fair. We're very fair.
Well, you guys are one of the first companies that I walk into, and I started, because every GC, as you know, you already, if you start talking to a client, you know how to run the numbers in your head on what it takes to get a regular mill worker to do the work. But you guys are the first company that got me thinking differently now.
Correct.
And how I could do this. So it's not about a guy out there and his hourly time and what he could produce
Correct.
on site.
Correct.
It's more about, okay, what can I creatively pull off here? And I think honestly, the big truth here is that for what you would spend for a guy on site, producing on site, you guys can get a far superior product for the same price point.
Absolutely.
I totally believe that,
Yeah.
100%, right? So
Yeah.
why not do that? Because now you can start coming up with new creative ideas to draw you into different paths to expand your portfolio, expand your workforce, but also learn. And it's really important to learn.
Oh, listen, we're learning every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
The minute
Well-
you stop learning is when you don't move forward anymore.
You build yourself a casket and away off you go. Right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
I think the biggest problem in our business, being contractors or GCs, is time. People are always complaining at the end, things are taking too long, they just want you out. A lot of times you need a great team like this where you can get something made overnight, have it the next day, like you said, instead of waiting 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, we see. I hear all the time in the business of movie making, the showcase products that you have to build like on the scene. Like you have to build a scene and then move on to the next scene, and you're continuously building. I actually like that because I feel like it's a very good setup for our shop because we do things a lot faster. But almost every movie industry, they have their own CNC. They have their own creative people. Everybody's building themselves now because the speed that they're generating and building things, it's so fast. You have no time even to go pick up the product and come back.
That's
So
true.
I like that speed. I like that rotation, that it's not sitting in my shop like a kitchen cabinet for 1 month and I'm staring at it. I like every day to come on the floor and look at something new.
Especially if it was shaker, eh?
Yeah.
I'm not the only guy
We
that
can-
has a hate for shaker.
I truly believe that the people that think alike, I think you think like us.
Yeah, of course.
We can build a team together that it will be the most powerful team ever. I think we can find the right people who want to adapt to technology, learn it, invest in it, and I want to build that team. That's my.
I don't have a heavy foot like you do when you drive. I have understood.
Yeah.
I'm a little older that way, and I guess, but he doesn't get on bikes.
No.
That's why. See,
Yeah.
because I think if you
I
get on
used
a
to. I
bike,
used to.
you
I
used
sold
to.
my bike.
Really? I
Yeah.
think if you stay on a bike, you actually behave a little bit better on the road.
Do you behave on your bike?
I behave on my bike
Oh.
because I want to get to point B.
Yeah, see, I'm the opposite. When I rode, I always rode aggressive because I never trusted anyone that was on the
You
road.
wanted to pass anybody, not to kind of.
Oh, I always passed them. And I was loud always, so they know I was there.
Oh, so we got 4 bikers here.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I sold my bike though. I'm
Why?
not riding anymore.
When you got married?
You know, no. What happened was I got my license. I passed my test. I was too lazy to go to the ministry to have the new M applied to my license. 6 months passed. I had to start from beginning. So I'm like, forget it. I'm out.
I did mine 2 days before it expired.
You're lucky.
I was lucky. I walked in there, and the guy ahead of me, he gave me a heads up. He goes, "He's gonna fucking fail you," and I was like, "Why?" He goes, "Just watch out for that one curve." And I was like, "I watched out for the one curve, and I passed." I was like, "Thanks, buddy." He didn't pass. All right, I think we covered quite a bit here. We got to kind of wrap it up. I don't know. Is there anything else that you want to ask, or
No, I think it was great. Like the
it's the future, man.
Yeah.
This is the future of woodworking.
and I'm so proud that it's Canadian. I really do. And this is
Technically, it's not your creation. You're
Armenian.
You're Greek.
I'm Greek.
I'm Portuguese. So,
But
you know-
listen, this is Canada right now.
Oh, I know. We are in Canada. We're on Canadian soil. I know.
I have about I have about 6 different nationalities that work in this building.
That's amazing that you guys. You have any Canadians?
No, man, we're Canadian.
No, I mean born and bred Canada. Manja cakes. You know what I mean?
A couple of them are born here, but
well, I actually am a mungie cake because I was born here.
Oh, you were born here?
Yeah, I was born here.
I don't want to talk to you, man. I can't believe it. Seriously?
I still respect my my heritage.
well, I've spent most of my life here, but I wasn't born here.
No, guys, thank you very much.
No
This has been
problem.
really enlightening. I mean, I always love coming to the shop here because the creativity just keeps on going crazy, right? So this has been amazing. I think anybody that's listening to us, hopefully they're woodworkers and they want to embrace this technology. And hopefully you guys get more, highlight wearing co-op students out here with sawdust to learn really well. I hope you guys get our age. I hope you get the older guys that want to embrace it instead of walk away from it, right?
Yeah, I believe by the time we get to your age, there won't be any person working in the shop. It will be our robots.
Listen, I'm at his age. You're
Just,
knocking
I know
age.
we're all the same age here. Just do me a favor. That machine, when you guys get it in here, call it Sarah Connor. All right, that's all it is. Just call it Sarah Connor, just for me, man.
Okay.
And you know what? For me, I think it's unfair that you guys haven't been posting some of your jobs on videos on Instagram and on your social media.
He's just
It would be
starting.
something really interesting, like even for me and Manny to come in here and be so excited to be around your guys' tools and around your projects. Our talk doesn't justify what I'm actually seeing. And you really need to like
Showcase it.
express and showcase this because it's really amazing, beautiful stuff. This is art. This isn't just construction. This is
We're
art.
taking baby steps, but we're gonna start taking some leaps.
Yeah. Yeah. I today was my first post talking.
I noticed that. You
And I'm
gotta
happy
do
about it.
more of it.
I'm thinking we should put a camera on the new guy and just have him alive walking around.
Live feed on the new guy. That's what we do. All right, so Carlito, you got to get us out of here.
All right, ready?
There we go. We are getting out of here. Thank you very much, man. Thanks to
guys.
everybody at
Thanks.
Digital Fab here, and we look forward to the new projects that are come out, man. So thanks so much.
Hey, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
We are out of here.
We're in the 416, baby. T.O. Out of here.